Did you know that insurance for EVs costs way more premium than the average car? Yeah, many EV owners are switching back to gas-powered cars. Why? They feel like their new cars just aren't ready to fully replace the traditional gas-powered ones yet. And after facing so many issues, a lot of them decided they've had enough. These are 8 reasons why EV owners are going back to gas. First up, at number 8, we have reliability issues. Did you think EVs were too technologically advanced to have any issues? Think again. Remember those experts' claims that electric vehicles are simpler and more reliable than their gas-guzzling cousins? Turns out that's not true. Ever wonder just how reliable your electric ride really is? A revealing 2023 survey from Consumer Reports looking at over 300,000 vehicles from the past 2 decades found that electric cars have 80% more issues than gasoline vehicles. Yep, you heard that right, 80%. We're talking about everything from frustrating charging failures and battery meltdowns to buggy infotainment systems that seem to have a mind of their own. And let's not get started on the build quality. There are cars with crooked body panels or janky interior fittings straight off the dealer lot. Now, with all these issues, is it any surprise that a bunch of EV owners are switching back to gas? Take the Chevy Blazer EV, for example. It's been so problematic that some people couldn't even finish their test drives. Just 2 short months and fewer than 2,000 miles on the road were enough to rack up more than 20 faults in diagnostics. And guess what? The Blazer isn't the only one. Most EVs are at the bottom of reliability charts, except for a few models from Tesla, which just about scrape by to average reliability. So, are you still all in on electric, or thinking it might be time for a reality check? But more than the reliability, there's another reason why people buy cars and where EVs really aren't coming through. Number 7, EVs lose their value quickly. Even with the massive discounts we've seen recently, EVs are more expensive than their gasoline-powered counterparts. Is that the only issue? Nope. It's also how quickly EVs lose their value. Most EVs depreciate about 50% over 5 years, while the average for all cars is closer to 39%. For a bit of perspective, hybrids depreciate about 37.4% in the same time frame. Take the Tesla Model S, for instance, which sees a depreciation rate of about 55%. Meanwhile, a Porsche 911 loses just about 9.3% of its value over 5 years. That brings us to the next big, glaring problem for most users. Number 6, charging failures. Why did most EV users choose to switch back to gas-powered cars? Well, 70% blamed their frustrations on charging issues. And trust me, the list of problems is long. For starters, many didn't have a level 2 charger at home. This left them with 2 not-so-great options: adding a measly 30 to 40 miles to their battery overnight using a regular outlet, or dealing with the hassle and expense of fast chargers at public stations. Are public charging stations reliable? Not at all. A study from the San Francisco Bay Area, one of the best-equipped regions for EVs, found that 1 in 5 charging attempts failed in 2023. We're talking about a variety of issues here, from broken payment systems and damaged cords to non-functional screens and painfully slow charging speeds. Speaking of problems, running a car is costly. But how costly do you think running an EV is? Number 5, the high cost of running EVs. Many people switch to EVs expecting them to be cheaper to run than gasoline cars. We've all heard about the lower costs of electricity and not needing regular oil changes. Does that mean EVs are cheaper to operate? Not at all. While charging at home might be economical, public charging can often end up costing more than filling up with gasoline. Then there's maintenance. Sure, EVs don't need oil changes, but they're generally heavier, which means they go through tires much quicker. And when it comes to repairs, things get even pricier. Most EVs are still under warranty, which helps initially. But what about after an accident? Many parts of EVs, especially the battery housings made of aluminium, often can't be repaired at all, requiring costly replacements instead. Another point to consider is the availability of qualified repair shops. There aren't many technicians trained to work on EVs, which makes any service you do need potentially much more expensive. When you add up all these expenses and consider the initial price, it's clear why many EV owners are hesitant to commit to buying another electric vehicle. Are EVs simply expensive to maintain? Number 4. Nope, they're expensive to purchase too. It's no wonder that a significant number of EV owners are considering switching back to gasoline or hybrid cars. On average, EVs cost between $55,000 and $60,000 last year. Meanwhile, many potential buyers are looking for something more affordable. About 47% of potential EV buyers want a car that costs less than $40,000. And fewer than 30% are willing to shell out $60,000 or more. Those still interested in buying an EV are looking for a car under $50,000, which can travel 300 miles on a single charge and recharge in just 20 minutes. Right now, there aren't that many models on the market that meet the criteria. So it's clear why many who previously bought into the promise of EVs, only to be let down by immature technology, are now relieved to return to gasoline cars. Number 3. But what about insurance costs? Not cheap at all. The full coverage for a Tesla Model X can set you back over $4,000 a year. That's double the average for most cars. Even if you're eyeing more wallet-friendly EVs, the surprises don't stop. Take the Tesla Model 3. It costs about $500 more to insure annually than a typical gas-powered luxury sedan like the Audi A4 or BMW 3 Series. And what about the Chevrolet Bolt EV? It's $78 more per year than the Hyundai Ioniq Blue, a hybrid. Why do you think that is? Well, there are a few reasons why insurance for EVs can hit the wallet hard. EVs are generally more expensive than their gas counterparts, and pricier cars naturally draw higher premiums. Then there's the repair costs. If you've ever had to deal with the battery issues in an EV, you know the drill. Sometimes you need to replace the entire unit, and that is not cheap. It's no wonder insurance companies often prepare to declare an EV a total loss after an accident. Plus, there's the issue with those lithium-ion batteries. Did you know they're quite prone to catching fire? This risk alone can bump up your premiums even more. So while you might be saving on gas, the insurance could be eating into those savings. Oh yeah, and that brings us to this next reason. Number 2, they have range anxiety. EVs don't have a lot of range. Why? Well, the charging network isn't quite there yet. And in terms of mileage, EVs still lag behind their internal combustion counterparts. Most of them struggle to hit 300 miles on a full charge. In reality, EVs often perform about 133% worse than these estimates. But that's just the beginning. Another major issue is that with fast chargers, you rarely get a full charge. Then there's the third problem: battery performance. Plus, batteries don't do well under heavy use, such as when towing or hauling heavy loads. All these factors contribute to the persistent worry known as range anxiety, keeping the full switch to electric a bit out of reach for now. That brings us to this next major reason. Finally, at number 1, they don't think EVs are ready to fully replace gas-powered cars yet. The EV market saw some impressive growth in 2021 and 2022. But it wasn't just a phase for early adopters. During this time, many wealthy households jumped on the trend, trying out the latest in electric vehicle technology. But were these EV owners truly ready to give up their traditional gas-powered cars? The answer is a resounding no. For most, their electric vehicle purchases were not about practicality. These EVs were never meant to fully replace their gas cars. Instead, electric vehicles often acted as secondary or even tertiary cars, primarily used for short local trips. For longer, more demanding journeys, the all-reliable internal combustion engines stayed in play. In short, these owners didn't replace their gas or genuinely commit to fully transitioning to green energy. For many, their electric cars are more about experimenting with new technology rather than a steadfast switch to eco-friendliness. This is reflected in their subsequent vehicle purchases. Interestingly, only 37% of Mustang Mach-E owners went on to buy another EV, while nearly half opted for another internal combustion vehicle instead. This trend isn't unique to just one brand, apart from Tesla, which maintains a loyal base of zero-emissions enthusiasts. Most other brands are chosen by customers prioritizing convenience and practicality over a full commitment to electric vehicles. So while the EV market continues to grow, it seems that for majority of the owners, electric cars remain just an additional option rather than a complete replacement. Anyway, do you think EVs are ready to fully replace gas cars yet? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that glowing subscribe button for more content like this.